Nerdrotic.com.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a review and discussion of the 15th anniversary of New Who with our ninth Doctor. Yes, Chris Eccleston is the ninth Doctor. And he will forever be the ninth Doctor. William Hartnell will forever be the first Doctor. Hashtag RIP Doctor Who is still in play. I have nothing against the fine people who have gathered this watch party on Twitter to enjoy some old Doctor Who. We can all remember how good the show used to be and bringing the fandom together during this time of captivity, quarantine, and hey, it's not a bad idea. So I am all for it, and I don't know who started it. I'm sorry, but praised. I believe it's a her. So great job. Now I watched it on my computer because, well, I have the entire library that's available for Doctor Who on my computer, actually. I also have it in my closet right here, too, but it was just easier to watch that. And I just finished watching Rose for probably, this is conservative estimate here, 100th time, maybe close to 150. When I owned a comic shop here in San Francisco from the year 2010 on, when I put my TV system in, the video TV system in, Doctor Who was on constant rotation, and it was mostly New Who in the store. So we would start out at season 1, 2005 season 1, and roll on up to, at the time, it was season 6. And we just repeat it over and over again. Nobody got tired of it. I made a bunch of Doctor Who fans. Kids loved it. We played it at kids' birthday parties. It was a show for everyone. And what's brilliant about the show, and before I get started, there'll be spoilers. Do I even need to say anything? Also, please consider subscribing to the channel if you like what I do here. And I want to thank everyone who has subscribed, and I thank you for your continued support. Now, I know there's a lot of comic book stuff going on right now, particularly with comic book retailing, and that's kind of a hot subject on my channel. I will be getting back to that later. Okay, we will talk about it Friday night, and I'm working on a video right now. I actually stopped working on the video so I could do this review. This will go over to Nerdrotic Live when it is done, so please make sure you are subscribed over there. I welcome everyone here. And I know some other people are live streaming. They'll probably go longer than I will, so I will definitely... if you want to continue the party, you can go on over there. I will be doing Exozone later with Doomcock. Okay, so Rose. I love this episode. I can watch it over and over and over again. It's everything that's great about Doctor Who in its simplicity, but it sets the stage for... And I still love Stephen Moffat's sixth season for 6 seasons of brilliance, all the way up to the 50th anniversary. We set the stage for the Time War, which, you know, they carry through to Matt Smith's era, and the Shadow Proclamation. We hear so much stuff, but we learn who Rose is, who arguably the main character. I would argue that Rose is the main character, especially in this episode and throughout season 1. And that's the way it's always kind of been to me. Anyway, that the companions were supposed to be the main character when they weren't annoying like Clara or and useless like the fam in current Doctor Who. And you get to know Rose in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. You get a little montage of London. And funny thing was, while they were filming this, I was in London at that time. I was walking around the streets of London right around the time they were filming this. Within a week. And because, yeah, and I love London, by the way. I love the UK. Hope you're all doing great over there. And we see a montage of Rose hanging out with Mickey. And by the time she steps into the elevator, I mean, it's quick. She's hanging out with Mickey. You see her talking to her mom, Jackie, real quick. You can already tell what kind of mom Jackie is. She gets to work. She's you could tell she's kind of the only one working. She's kind of miserable. She gets handed the lottery money. And as soon as she steps in that elevator, you have an idea of who Rose is, who is a British Londoner shop girl. And at the time, 2003, 2004, 2005, there was a lot of those, a lot. And she heads down the elevator. And of course, she heads in to find Wilson, who we later find out is dead. And she meets the doctor. And at first, the Autons start coming to life. I have a bunch of them, like right up there, hanging on the wall. And she doesn't know what's going on. And the Ninth Doctor's first word spoken is run, which sets the pace for this New Who era, setting it apart. And we know that Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a partial inspiration for this show. My other favorite show, by the way. For being such an Istanphobe, apparently I like a show with a female lead. It's one of my favorites. It's in my top 2 with Doctor Who. And I want to get away from my stupid Star Trek Picard notes here. We also, so Rose gets to meet the Doctor. And while they're in the elevator, the Doctor asks her, well, what do you think it is? And she's all, well, it's got to be students. Who else has that kind of time? And he's, oh, that's pretty smart. No, it's not students. Then we make introductions. I'm Rose. I'm the Doctor. Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life. And Chris Eccleston was so perfect for this role. And it sucks. It sucks that we only got 1 season. We wouldn't have gotten Tenet, but I still maintain, while I think Capaldi was probably the best actor who ever played the Doctor, I think Chris Eccleston's performance in season 1 is the best single performance over everybody. Because he could play tortured like nobody else. And you already get that feeling. Initially you get, he's very Tom Baker-esque in the beginning of this with his, crazy smile. But later on in the episode, you see the tortured face. We'll get to one of my favorite scenes in Doctor Who is when that long walk down the stairway in the council estate while they're walking towards the TARDIS and he's explaining everything. So Rose, he tells Rose to run for her life. Her work explodes. She's got an arm in her hand. She heads back home, and then we get to know the rest of the future companions. We get to know Jackie and Mickey, and we find out, and listen, the writing in this episode is so, it's not even close to what is written today in modern television. I'm not even going to say Doctor Who in modern television because you can see it. They're free of restrictions. When Jackie walks by Rose and she's all, oh, she has skin like an old Bible, you can't even say that stuff because that would be offensive to somebody. Jackie hitting on the Doctor when he comes over. You can't do that anymore. You can't have fun anymore because somebody might get offended. Especially, how does that make, it makes Jackie look like a desperate single woman. It's very patriarchal. So, Jack, we also get to know Mickey. We get to see what Mickey's about. He's kind of an aloof boyfriend who takes his girlfriend for granted. They're more buds than they are in a relationship. And he comes over and he pretends he's all worried about her. And then he offers to take her to the pub. And she's all, there's a match on, right? And he's all, well, maybe we catch the last 5 minutes. She's like, go ahead. And she's in a very humdrum life, in a very comfortable relationship, going nowhere in life. And that is well established already. And we already know more about Rose, Mickey, and Jackie than we still know about the fam. And it's like I stated before, it's these writing restrictions that the writers put on themselves. They're self-censoring because they're so afraid to offend someone. And you know what? That's how you control a society. That's how you control behavior. Because people don't want to look bad at all. And, we need to get back to, in my opinion, a world of, being more secure. And it's all insecurity. It's like not giving a crap. Who cares what people think about you? Who cares what people think about what you say? I don't. And especially as a writer, you need to be free to do this. And it just exposes the problem of Doctor Who. Now, I don't think Chibnall's capable of writing anything well. I think he's a perfect writer for today's Doctor Who because he'll just be a good little soldier, do whatever the BBC tells him to do, and he won't color outside of the margins, which is what Doctor Who needs all the time. It's a show of that. So the Doctor comes over. And there's another scene where Rose yells at her mom for being a liar because she thought she nailed the cat door down because the stray cats were coming in when the arm sneaks in to attack Rose. It's a little statement like that you can't write anymore either. So the Doctor comes over and she's all, I live here. Well, what are you doing that for? And then they come in and the arm attacks the Doctor. Well, before that, he's going through the tabloids and, that's never going to work. She's an alien and he's gay. And then he reads the book. And then he looks in the mirror and you see that he had just regenerated. He's all, it's okay, but except for the ears. And there is an inconsistency already in this that we'll get to. If he had just regenerated, there is a major inconsistency. But it does fit with the 50th. But it doesn't really fit with Clive. So we'll go over to Clive. She goes to Clive's. She looks up online. She uses Mickey's computer. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to my favorite scene. So after they break the coffee table, and I guess Jackie didn't get pissed about that, the Doctor takes off and he's walking towards the TARDIS, and they're walking through the council estate, and we get one of the best scenes in New Who, period, where Rose is grilling the Doctor. He's basically wanting to get rid of her, and she's all, no, you're not just walking away from me, dude. Like, what's going on? And is it a price war? And he doesn't come out and say he's an alien. He just says, he gets serious for a moment. He's like chatting her up, and then he holds her hand and he gives her that story about how he can feel the Earth hurtling through space and the spin of the Earth. And he can actually feel that. And, it took me a couple of viewings to actually get that. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about there? But, it's showing how alien he is, his different perspective. And that's something we humans can't wrap our heads around. And that's the genius of Russell T Davies. And he tells her to go home, and he walks towards the TARDIS. And Mickey, then Rose uses Mickey's computer. She looks up Clive on the internet. She finds Clive. He's a conspiracy theorist. And I've always wished they would have gone back to this. All right. Considering what happened to Clive, you would think Clive's wife might look at some of his research and go on a hunt to avenge her husband, and we'd see her again someday. And you never know. We might. And she looks up Dr. Blue Box. I forgot what the search engine was at the time, but it's that early 2000s computer. And she goes to Clive's house with Mickey. Mickey's trying to look all hard in his little yellow VW. And we get some more exposition about the Doctor. And here are the inconsistencies. If the Doctor had just regenerated, how did he go to Krakatoa? And how was he at the Kennedy assassination? I mean, did he just make all these trips after he regenerated before he looked in the mirror for the first time? Maybe. But there is a big mirror in the TARDIS. We know that in the big wardrobe. But that's neither here nor there. They needed to set up the Doctor for the new audience. I understand that. And it worked. It totally worked. And again, I am not a canon purist. Okay, I don't mind changing a few things about Star Trek, Doctor Who, whatever, as long as it makes sense within the story. And what's the important part of Doctor Who for me in the early on is why I like Firefly and Buffy and Angel. Plot holes everywhere in those stories, but there's no plot holes with the characters. The characters act consistent the whole time. They go on a journey, they go on an arc, but they never do stuff out of character. Like, for instance, not comfort a man who's trying to confide into the Doctor his fear about cancer, or at least protesting a little bit when a man wants to sacrifice himself for the Doctor. Remember, this is the Doctor in Rose later on in the episode where he wants to give the Nestene conscious a chance, because of the war. And I love the ending of this episode because clearly they were restricted on budget. So the ending is two Autons holding the Doctor's arms for about 10 minutes. No, like 5 minutes as the attack on London commences with all of the Autons, and they kill Clive. And that's Doctor Who. I mean, poor Clive. I know he worked on the show, right? He was a producer. He worked on the show. I remember seeing it in the special features like 8 years ago. I can't remember now. But that was a great scene, and it was dark as hell. And Jackie's, I love that scene where she went to the police station. She's calling Rose, and she's all, "You are going to get compensation. I got a paper for you. Don't thank me." I'm like, oh my God, that's my mom. Such my mom. And she goes, "Tra!" And yeah, I love it. I freaking love Jackie so much. She's the best. And you learn to like Mickey. Mickey is very much one of those Buffy characters that starts out wimpy and kind of, very docile and goes on an arc and ends up a warrior at the end. Same with Martha and same with Rose. It's called a character arc. Let's go to Yaz. Yaz sits there. She stands there. Has she gone on a journey? Have they done anything with that character at all? I mean, it's not like she worked for the police. It's not like you can work about, I don't know, all your storylines through weird police reports. Something, I don't know. It's the laziness of Chibnall. And I got a video coming out concerning R.I.P. Doctor Who. But let's get to you guys. Listen, I love this freaking episode so much. And at the end is great. That's where Chris Eccleston puts in his best performance, wherein he's seeking an audience with the Nestene consciousness, and due to Proclamation 15 of the Shadow, or what is it, Convention 15 of the Shadow Proclamation. And you hear about the Time War a little bit, and you hear that the Nestene conscious have nowhere to go, and that's why they're coming to Earth. And you find out the Doctor tried to save a bunch of planets and couldn't. He says, "I tried to save your planet. I couldn't save yours. I couldn't save any of them." And you can hear the torture in his voice. And that's Christopher Eccleston. Now, apparently he was going through a lot of personal issues while the show was on. He's been pretty open about that. And he channeled that through his acting. And you can feel it. You can see it. And again, it's brilliant. It's emotional. You feel it. And Rose has to save him and Mickey. And that is something where we would roll our eyes out today, because today when they would do that, they like Chibnall and company would act like that was the first time it ever happened, because women were just kept in the TARDIS in the corner and they never did anything except Rose saved the Doctor at the end. And of course she travels with them when she finally, at first she says no, she wants to stay home and take care of her mom and Mickey, who don't appreciate her at all. And then the Doctor comes back and goes, "Oh, did I mention this thing? It travels in time." Boom, she's gone. Kisses Mickey goodbye and takes off. And then we go into a second episode that's pretty subpar, but I still like it. And we will get to you. Rose is a beautiful episode of television, a great premiere episode, right up there with the best. Is it the best, Doctor? I mean, I guess it's a post-regeneration. No, I would say Spearhead from Space and 11th Hour are a little better, but Rose is on a whole new different level for me. The whole season as an arc, I love it. Oh my God, the stuff with Rose's dad. Oh man, when we eventually get to that, Rose, I love Rose. I love Rose. I love Rose. So, yeah, I'll be reviewing more of these. Now, again, this will be going on Nerdrotic Live, and I'll do more. Probably it's going to end up being on my Patreon first, and then it goes over to Nerdrotic Live, and we're going to do a bunch of classic episodes and modern episodes, and because we have no good TV, and it's unfortunate, and I'm glad people came together to see how sad it really is that they destroyed Doctor Who. And I know people are still in denial about this, but I'll have to agree with the What Culture video. I'm not going to say it like this, but he says it's canon. Deal with it. Yeah, it is. It is. Those are the people who own Doctor Who. There's a blue box in there, and they made it canon, and they killed the show. Any chance of me jumping back on when Jodie's run is over, if the Timeless Child is the first Doctor and Tecteun is the creator of the Time Lords, peace out. I'm done. You know what? I don't mind going back and changing a little lore. You got to do that once in a while, but you can see what the motivation was behind that, and it wasn't to tell a good story. Let's get to you guys. This one isn't going to be a super long one. I do have to get to a video, and yeah, we'll be back to normal Nerdrotic Nooners next week, where we'll talk about anything and everything. Because yes, again, I know the comic book subject is very hot right now. I'm actually very hot right now. I was being very angry on a video prior to recording this, and it's nice to just watch something good, because part of the problem we're having in fandom is we're customers, and they're not treating us like customers. They're treating us like they're doing something for us, like we're not paying for this stuff, right? They you know, it's gotten to this weird place where the creatives and repurposers think that we're here for them. They're here for us. We're a paying customer. We can choose to leave or not. But yeah, Son of the Wolf for $2. Hail Nerdrotic. Miss good Doctor Who. Yes, it just made me miss it. But it didn't ruin my enjoyment, I'll say, because it's so stupid. The Chibnall stuff is so ridiculously bad. And I know people are trying to do mental gymnastics like, oh, they'll undo it. No, they're not going to undo it, folks. And you can't reboot this show. This is not a rebootable show. Jody Bowie for $2. Hail Gary, R.I.P. Doctor Who, making some pizza tonight. Enjoy the pizza. Enjoy the pizza. I might order some. The world is still working. There's cars on the freeway. There's some people going to the store. And it seems like things are okay here so far. Hope they're okay where you are. Scottish Nerd for $1.49 sends the phallic symbol unicorn. Hail! Joe W. Thank you, Scottish Nerd. Joe W. for £10. Maybe we should start a campaign to get younger generations to understand how awesome older TV series are. Stargate 1 and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, for example. What do you think? Yeah. I mean, Joe, start a channel. If you love those shows, spread the love. Tell everybody how much, in your way, how you love those shows. And that's how you get the word out. I'm actually in a better position because of the channel growth to do fun side stuff like that on my second channel, and I will most certainly do it. There are people, the passion of the nerd covers, Mahler turned me on to that channel. He covers Buffy beautifully. That guy is really good at what he does, and it's all about Buffy. He loves Buffy. Check it out if you want to just see a love fest, and it's okay. I think that's a good thing. Andrew Alios for $5. Beak! Glad you are still going strong during these trying times. Hail from Pete's Stonestown. What's up, Andrew? I miss you guys. I miss you guys so much. This is Andrew from the Pete's Coffee, where I always go get my Pete's after I work out. Keep it up, man. We miss you. Are you guys open? If you're open, I'll come by. I'll put up the app, but I'll put on my hazmat suit and we can wave from 6 feet apart. Andrew, you take care of yourself, man. Be safe. We'll see you soon. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Non-stick pansexual for $5. I always thought it was kind of twisted that in the first place that the Doctor took Rose was to watch the destruction of Earth. Tells you a lot about him. Yeah, it does. But that was important. And that shows you that how disconnected he was. And it showed you a little bit in Rose when he didn't think much of Mickey being dead, and twice, and it really upset Rose. And I thought that was great characterization. That's a doctor who had just regenerated, who just came out of a time war. So he saw trillions of deaths, and he was responsible, at least in his head, for billions of death. So a dead boyfriend trying to save planet Earth probably didn't mean much to him. But he learns that over his journey with Rose. And the companions are important to the Doctor because it keeps him connected. And that's why I always thought in my mind, that's why he always goes back to Earth, because, he sees their potential. He sees our potential. He's inspired by us a little bit. He calls us dumb once in a while, but that's okay. We are. Adidas Singh for £5. Gary, off-topic question. Which punk band do you like better among these? The Ramones or Black Flag? The Ramones. I like the Ramones better. I love Black Flag, but the Ramones are more fun. Neither are my favorite punk band, though. My favorite punk band is, well, it's a tie. I know it's weak. It's a tie between the Dead Kennedys and the Subhumans from the UK. Dick. Yes. Baked Penguin 1 for £5. Gary, the writers aren't afraid to offend the cis melanin deficient. No, they're not. They're not. You are correct, Baked Penguin. Now, is it baked like you eat a penguin, or are you like a baked penguin? Like, I'm baked, bruh. Problem being. Oh, sorry. I'll be right back to you. Problem being. Oz Baxter Incorporated for $5. Lots of planets have a north. I love that line. It's such a Douglas Adams line. Yes. Oh, my God. Rest in peace, Douglas Adams. We miss you dearly. We love you, man. We love you, man. I hope he is I hope Douglas Adams is really annoyed that there was an afterlife. And it's probably exactly how he described it. Lots of planets have a north. It's such a Douglas Adams line. That had to be a nod to the great man himself. Absolutely. No, Russell T. Davies and Stephen Moffat are both unabashed Douglas Adams fans. And of course, in David Tennant's Christmas Invasion, they canonized Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when the 10th Doctor talks about Arthur Dent. Yes, he does. Walking around in his pajamas. Will Gentry, our whole nation just clapped for the NHS. I was on a live stream when they mentioned it. Then I could hear everyone outside of my street all clapping. Wow. That's awesome. I don't live in a neighborhood like that. Maybe if the Niners are in a Super Bowl, you can hear something. But generally it's firecrackers and the occasional gunshot. So it's all right, though. I mean, that's America, folks. I know in the UK, everybody thinks we walk around with the sidearm just shooting things we don't like. But that's not the case. It's not arachnids in the UK. But occasionally you'll hear a gunshot, yes. Nicholas Horton for £5. Hail, Gary. Russell T. Davies has released a Rose prequel novel. I will check it out. I know that Chris Chibnall released a short story that I don't want to read, but I probably will. And I will definitely check that out. And I'm glad he did something. I'm glad. Jody Bowie for $5. LOL. But it's more fun to make it than watching. It's more fun to make it than watching the new Who. R.I.P. Doctor Who. Yes. Oh, indeed. I don't mind making pizza. I just can't cook. I suck. Icane 1906 for $5. Doesn't seem like they will be shutting it down anytime soon. Is there anything that will force the BBC to course correct on Doctor Who? Oh, what's going on right now? Icane 1906, the entertainment industry. Now, I know that Rich Johnston from Bleeding Cool is bragging, and it's good. I'm not complaining about it or anything, about the furlough something about a furlough. I don't know. It's some kind of savings for workers who are out of work. Some kind of the word was furlough. I don't know how you guys use it over here. Here it's like a work furlough, but you have some kind of compensation set aside for workers and industries that are shut down right now. Tell you what, they're going to have to prioritize that because they're not going to have enough money for everybody, and they're not going to have enough money for entertainment pretend shows. This is real life serious shit, and none of your tax money, none of your money should be going towards funding Doctor Who, and none of my money, because we have a very similar situation here. California, now I'm not big on the taxes, very libertarian when it comes to the taxes thing, but they give a big tax credit to Star Trek Picard, $20 million. I was talking about it on my review. That shit needs to be cut off. Hell no. For any show, you stay here, you pump some money into the economy, and we all work together to get things back going again. And that doesn't mean shooting your show in Canada. Sorry, Canada. Doesn't mean shooting your show in some place that gives you massive tax credits. No, you keep it right here. Everybody should stay local for a little while. Help your local businesses. Help your small businesses that survive. That's how we get through that. Is that what's going to happen? Hell no. Hell no. Jodie and Chibnall will be gone after Series 13. Take it to the bank. Set it in stone. They're done. And I can say that with confidence because the BBC is probably hoping there'll be a ratings spike. But if they just maintain, say they don't decrease anymore and they just maintain, that is still not enough to keep this series going. And they won't. My guess for the Christmas special, it'll probably, I don't know. You know what? I thought they would get better ratings for the final episode. I thought it would get better ratings than the penultimate episode, and it did not. You guys actively tuned out, and good for you. Now, this is the holidays. Now, these holidays are going to be a lot different, I believe, because if we're back open for business, I think a lot of people will be working through the holidays because we took a big, long vacation earlier in the year, and that might affect it. But no, nobody cares about the show anymore. Just look at the ratings from the first episode of Series 11 to the latest episode. Do any of them pop up? I think one popped up in fourth or fifth episode. I don't know this for a fact. In the 11th season, but then it was all down after that. All down. Snark Boojum for 379 rubles. That was a time when pop singer can act better than actress that won an Oscar now. Yep. Well, now we have pop singers like Britney Spears railing against capitalism. Another millionaire railing against capitalism. It's my favorite thing to cover, actually. I gotta make more videos on that. Vention MGTOW for $5. Seeing Earth destroyed in episode 2 gave tremendous emotional impact for when the Doctor revealed that his planet was destroyed. I was like, no! Yes, absolutely. The story for episode 2 was very Hitchhiker-like. It was subpar, but it had great moments that were important for the series. And look, I'm gonna talk about the action figures. So the action figures for the first 5 seasons are some of the best action figures ever made. I'm an action figure fan. Would I say aficionado? Maybe a little close. I don't know. I don't keep mine in packages, so that's what sets me apart from the anal retentive collector. I rip my packages open, because I like to see the figure. The Doctor, you guys in the UK made the best plastic action figures I've ever seen. Best sculpts, best paints, simplistic, not overly articulated. These are perfect action figures. Perfect size, around 5 inches. Well, that's not what she said. I know. I hear you, dirty. Get your mind out of the gutter. Just a thanks, says James Andrews for $5. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining me here on this impromptu thing. Check out Az's review of Rose. It's really good. Check out every review or video by Az. They're all really good. The prequel novel features the original ending to the Time War that never was. Nicholas Horton for £5. That's right. That's right. Of course I will get it. Of course I will get it. I remember that came out a while ago, right? I don't keep track of all the books. I keep track of the comics. I stopped recently buying the comics, which sucked. I mean, I like supporting Titan. I thought they were a very good comic company. And they've done a lot of good stuff, but I can't support them anymore. It sucks. I can't support Big Finish anymore. I can't support Big Chief anymore. Big Chief has one of these, has a black jumper available. I wanted to get that. And I'm like, I'm going to have to get it secondhand. Problem being, I will get to it. I'll read them both in order. When the Doctor left at the end and came back, maybe we went back into time to prove to Rose he could do it, since he looks at the camera. And that's Florian Frau for £5. I'll say that again. When the Doctor left at the end and came back, maybe he went back into time to prove to Rose he could do it, since he looks at the camera. Yeah, maybe he went back, and that's a good point, that when he leaves, that's a very good point, that when he leaves and comes back to Rose, he went to Krakatoa, he went to 1963. Yeah, I would say that fixes that problem right there. And honestly, it wasn't I've seen the episode 100 times, and it wasn't anything I thought about until I was watching it now. I'm like, oh, how did he regenerate? But you're right, at the end, he does that. So good on you. Good on you. Let's go to problem being. If you like good UK punk rock, check out Killing Joke. Problem being, I don't know how old you are. I was listening to Killing Joke in the early 80s when I was 11 years old. So, yes, as a matter of fact, my first punk rock leather had Killing Joke written on the back of the shoulders in blood, in bloody letters. I painted my own leather. I put studs in my own leather. Yeah, I'm not going to bore you with pictures of me as an old punk rocker kid. They're on my Facebook page. Just friend me on my Facebook page and you can see them there. But then he says, you skipped my first super chat. Paid reminder. You don't have to give paid reminders. Problem being, for £1.99, just tell me in the side and I'll see it. Sorry about that, man. By the way, just a reminder, if I'm going through super chats, they always jump. So they get skipped. So what I do is I get to the end and then I go back up. So don't worry, I'll get you. I'll get you. And if I miss one, I also do super chat square ups. None of them get left behind. I hate missing them. I do. So we got that Will Gentry, Joey Bowie, and yeah. So Killing Joke is brilliant. Come on, Gary, listen to death metal like an adult. I listen to death metal too. I don't exclusively listen to punk rock. While I was a little punk rocker when I was a kid and I had a mohawk, I was also listening to metal, lots of metal, and new wave, Oingo Boingo, and classical music. I like all types of music except for pop music, pop country and pop music. Don't like it, hate it, can't stand it. Hi, Gary. I just arrived from the rewatch live tweet, and this is Aiden McGurr for £10. Hi, Aiden. You probably saw me, LOL. Sorry for using the Doctor Who hashtag, but I'm only doing it for these. Never when Dr. Woke is on, by the way. Like my new profile pic. I do. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I can see it. I can see it barely. My eyes are horribly bad, Aiden. Snark. Okay, so listen to death metal. But when we go back to canceling Doctor Who, everything is off the table now, folks. And I'm hearing this from my insider for Star Trek, and I imagine it won't be any different with Doctor Who. Funds are being reallocated, and a lot of TV shows here in America rely on tax breaks, and the same goes for Canada. Canada gives huge tax breaks to American productions. They're not going to listen. The general public is not going to allow this to happen. If they hear one thing, I mean, there's 3 million people out of work right now. So if somebody hears that some of that tax money which would have come in, which is too much anyway, to be honest with you, but it gets allocated to pretend time, people are going to get mad. I guarantee you people are going to get mad. They're resentful towards Hollywood anyway. Hollywood better pay attention to and the BBC better pay attention to what's going on in comic books right now, because that is a portent to that is the harbinger of what's to come for entertainment. What happened in comics before is happening in entertainment now. We had an industry filled with partisans who decided to use it for a political platform instead of entertaining people. And then it became divisive. And then it got to the point where if you don't like my comics, don't buy it. Well, that's basically what Chibnall and Jody are saying. You don't like this Doctor Who? You got old. Just don't buy it. Now they were sitting on this big fat cushion of a good economy that they were denying. And now that good economy is gone. It's gone. And now we're going to have to make real decisions about life. And what sucks is the innocent people that get caught up in this. Comic shop owners and truck drivers, key grips, effects supervisors, catering, costume designers. None of these people got political. They just wanted to achieve their dream of working on a show or working at the BBC or working in Hollywood. And it's the power players who are not going to get affected by any of this. They're fine. Who are making all these decisions because they could afford to lose a few fans. And now they can't. And now you're seeing the comic book industry, the comic book retailing industry, die in a matter of weeks. It's not the strongest industry, but it is a sign of things to come if this goes on too long. And if we don't start, treating all customers with respect. Customers or fans. Ash and Jackal for $5. Do you consider Death's Head an official Doctor Who canon? The Seventh Doctor and him had a number of run-ins in Doctor Who magazine and Marvel UK comics. As far as Doctor Who canon, what I consider it canon, I generally consider it all canon. Now I know the Dalek movies are not considered canon. I probably wouldn't consider those canon. I listen. Oh my God, the Children in Need special, the Curse of the Fatal Death. I wish that was canon. I do, but it's not. I don't know on Death's Head. Honestly, don't know. I consider Big Finish canon, but I don't consider the Timeless Children canon. I can tell you that. Stop supporting BBC after, and thank you for the $5, Ashen. Stop supporting, and Marvel UK comics. I used to read the crap out of those. I missed a bunch. Oh, what was the name of your, was it Wild Thing? Wild Thing. Yes. Wild Thing. That was Marvel UK. I used to read that. It was terrible. Flavius Alicanther for £5. Stop supporting BBC after the shockingly biased Brexit coverage. The pound saved went on drugs and cheap The pound saved went to drugs and cheap hookers. The rest I wasted. Here, have some. Oh my God. It's been a while, Flavius Alicanther. Oh my God. I don't know, folks. Do I consider Doctor Who comics canon? I always kind of did. So the answer would be yes. That's such a cool. I love that, by the way. Here, I'm going to pull up the picture for you. If the right window is pulled up. There we go. The Death's Head. I don't know if you guys, there is a great collection by IDW of the Tom Baker stuff. It's a big hardcover of the complete by Dave Gibbons. And it's also got a Peter Davison story, and it's everything from Doctor Who magazine, right, he was bringing up. The art in that is Dave Gibbons at his best. I mean, his Watchmen art is good. I think a lot of people don't like the coloring from it. I personally do, but the art in the Doctor Who books is, it's so some of his best work. I would love to have some original artwork from that, but I'm sure it's impossible to find. I met Dave Gibbons. I did an interview with him. Maybe I'll. Oh, whoops. Did I not turn that off? My bad. I met Dave Gibbons, and I did an interview with him at Comic-Con. And he was a very nice man, but I hate that he signed off on so much Watchmen stuff. Icon, 1906 for $5. Heard Disney was ticked. They were excluded from U.S. you-know-what stimulus package. Did you hear about that? Yes, I did hear about that from the quartering, and it got me looking into all the other TV shows that have been helped with. And no, the stimulus is not going to help Hollywood at all, and that is good. And why should it? Why should it? Hollywood, see, I can hear people going, that's so insensitive to people losing their jobs. No, Hollywood has the money. What did they do with all of their $1 trillion? Where is it? I know some of the actors' unions have funds and stuff. Where are the trillions of dollars? Oh, well, the fat cats have it. The executives have it. The ones who want to control our lives and divide our fandoms. They're fine. Bob Iger has it. I'm amazed that the creatives do not realize what happens when societies move away from capitalism. Poof goes the art. Dumb celebrities. Yes, art is the product of a affluent society. And if you look at art through history, there were still artists, but only the best of the best of the best of the best of the best got royal favor. Most of them starved and died broke or crazy or, yeah. Avon calling, that's Blake 7 DVD looks sexy. Oh, the Blake 7 DVD and Red Dwarf are looking sexier every day. They really are. You're right. Problem being. No. Listen, capitalism as it's run right now in the United States is not the best thing ever. Well, it kind of is. It's the thing that's worked the best ever. What I meant to say, it's not perfect. We have too many giant corporations getting big. I hate limitations. I hate when government puts limitations on things. I think we need to know our limits. There's a difference. I think there's a point where it's like, do I need $1 trillion? Do I personally need $1 trillion? No, you don't. Now, is it up to other people to tell me what to do with the $1 trillion that I earned? No, I, as an adult, should probably help a lot of people with that money, just as a human being, not being forced into it, my choice. And that makes it genuine. I don't know. That's stupid. It'll never happen. Pie in the sky shit. I know. But no, I don't begrudge anybody getting rich. I think it does. People criticize the hell out of Jeff Bezos, and he deserves it in some aspects, but he did come out and, create 100,000 jobs. And he can do that at the snap of a finger, and good for him. I worked for Elon Musk at Tesla, and he's one of the few people in this planet that I admire. So that's not I admire people in everyday life, like my sponsor and people in AA, and a lot of you out there in the chat. I don't admire celebrities and billionaires, but I admire Elon Musk. A little bit of a Bond villain, but that's why I kind of like him. The world needs a Bond villain. Gary, I never saw Doctor Who, but your passion has inspired me to start all the way back with William Hartnell. Oh, yes. I'll just tune out the Chibnall stuff. Yes. And remember, it's old. It's in black and white. But also remember, that was made in 1963. And look at how ahead of its time it was. Honestly, that's not something I recognized until I was older. I watched the early years, first time, like, I don't know, 20 years ago? 20, it's a long time ago. And I was like, but then later on, I'm like, wow. So I, especially watching it in order is fun. It sucks that there's so many missing episodes. They're working on that, but unfortunately, a lot of those, the packaging has that new logo on it, and I just can't do it. But Marcus, Learn as much as possible. Getting into something new, especially right now, is great. It's beautiful. You get into a long, sprawling story that builds this amazing world that you can get lost in for a little while and just have fun. Okay, I got to wrap this up, ladies and gents. I got a show to do. And I'm going to run over to the Exozone. So thank you for being here. If there was Felipe Abrigo for 2,500 Chilean pesos. Hi, Gary. I uploaded a couple of my songs, sent them in your DM on Twitter. Stay safe. I will check them out later. Thank you, Felipe. Michael Henley for $13. The lower level employees will probably get the government assistance, which is good. And there is a lot of crony capitalism in the U.S., so it isn't pure capitalism. No, and you're right. And that's what I was trying to say, Michael, is it's not pure I prefer like entrepreneurship, small businesses. No, I hate to use this term. Yeah, it's crony capitalism. That's the best definition for it. What happened to the end of Blake 7? Loved the show, but the finale was, I don't know, I haven't watched it, was a new definition of disappointment. What happened? I don't know. Paleo Geek, I haven't seen it yet, but I'll let you know. Back in the 90s, I candy flipped with youth. Oh, really? Okay, that just clicked. Okay, I really got to go now. The future ruler of Earth is waiting for me. And look for this on Nerdrotic Live in about an hour. It's going to go unlisted, but you can hang on to the link and share it with your friends. Thank you all. Thank you all to the Modrotics. R.I.P. Doctor Who.